Welcome to another episode of From the Logo Podcast. I'm Hayes, joined by Gifted. What's going on, Gifted?
What's good, Hayes? Basketball. A lot of things are happening in the world of basketball. We're back. A lot has happened in 1 week, and I can't wait to get to it with you, bro.
Yeah, we got a lot to get into today, man. We got Joel Embiid stuff that I'm really excited to talk about. Diana Taurasi retired today as well, which I think
She
we should throw
did
in on the
out
end
of
of the
nowhere.
show. Yeah. But let's start off with the title topic, man. Luka against the Lakers today in LA. I don't think this is going to hit as much as it does when they're in Dallas, but Luka is going to be out to prove a point against the team. I think that just goes without saying. They traded him. It was unexpected. He was in the process of buying a second house. Luka's about to cook. How you feeling, Gifted?
So I'm with you, honestly, man. I think the Luka game today is getting overhyped because national media really wants a talking point to latch on to instead of real basketball. This game is going to be cool, but let's be honest. Like, to me, the flair of this game isn't going to hit as much because the Mavericks are not fully healthy. A lot of their front court is still completely decimated. There is no Anthony Davis. And more importantly, beyond all of that, this game is not in Dallas. Now, obviously, Luka is expected to really go out here and show a point to the people who will be there, which is fair. But the real game, the real, like Showtime game where we want him to have like a 60-point, 10, right? Like that type of performance is really on the road. That's what we want to see. The atmosphere is going to be like that. However, the Lakers fans who are loving the Luka experience are going to show up in bunches today for sure. That'll be fun to watch at least.
That's there. It's going to be electric in that building. I guess, is Kyrie playing tonight for sure?
I think Kyrie's playing for sure.
Okay. So, I mean, that should make it at least a little interesting, but they're so decimated on that front line, man. This isn't even the version of the team that Nico Harrison thought could be a championship contender, which is already problems there. But the question is Nico Harrison going to be there? That's the bigger question that I care about.
There. Yeah, I think he'll be there. The funny part, though, is the last game I saw him at, ironically, was the Golden State versus Dallas game. And every time the camera went to his face, he was never smiling, and his eyes were always focused on the exits. He was looking for strategical routes to get to and from his seat. And I respect it because them shooters is coming for him.
Oh, yeah, he gotta be, bro. Like, unfortunately, and I don't understand why he wasn't more prepared. You traded Luka Doncic at 25 years old.
Yes.
For basically what amounts to pennies on the dollar. Like, you should have expected the death threats. Now, the thing that I as a father that I feel for is the fact that his daughters are actually athletes. They're actually pretty well scouted athletes in the city of Dallas. I don't even know if he can go to any of their events this summer, bro, because they're both in track and field. I don't think he can go to any of them. What's going on, ZZ?
What's good, y'all? What's good? What we talking about?
We're talking about Luka against the Lakers today. Well, I'm sorry, the Lakers against the Mavericks today.
Hey, look here. I don't care. People talking about, is Luka going to drop 50? Is he going to drop 60? Is he going to drop 40? Is he going to drop 30? All I know is Nico Harrison better be there. That's all I know. Nico Harrison better be in attendance. I need to see this shit. The world needs to see this shit. I don't give a damn. I saw him at the Warriors game. Gifted, you seen him at the Warriors game on Sunday?
I just talked about it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what you doing there? If you're there, you better have your ass there. That's all I know. LA ain't too, crypto ain't too far. You better have your ass there.
Mm-hmm. Look, the one I'm excited about is that they play April. I think it's April 4th. I know it's beginning of April. When they play all in Dallas.
The thing Anthony Davis should be healthy by then too.
Yeah, that's going to be the one to watch because that could be absolutely a shit show is what that could be.
Yeah. Now, here's my thing though. The real revenge game no one is talking about because no one's hyped for this way, but I am. The Max Christie revenge game. Odds against me. They traded me. They just threw me in the deal. I've been balling out for the Mavericks after I got traded. This is my revenge game in crypto. Run that up. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Max Christie masterclass when everyone's going to the game focused on Luka. There's another side of the trade as well.
So what he's saying is, for all you gambling addicts out there, bet Max Christie 12 plus points.
I'm not saying that, but I am saying that.
He's saying that.
Yeah.
If Max Christie comes out and balls out today, let alone Max
That'd
Christie
be fire, wouldn't it?
Is the leading scorer or something for the Dallas Mavericks today. Like, I don't have that on my bingo card at all. Everybody need to play the lottery at this point, but that is another aspect of the revenge game in this as well.
Yeah. Nah, you onto something.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. From one return with Luka going, anything left with Luka and the Lakers against the Mavs today?
Look, man,
Outside of the recap from the Nuggets game, which was a fire game, by the way,
fire game.
they've been getting destroyed by the Nuggets for like 2 years now. And the first game that Luka has, they dominate them. They show teams, hey, this Nuggets team is winning a lot of games, yes, but when you simply trap and you put 3 or 4 big bodies on Jokic and you say we're gonna live with Russell Westbrook threes, we're gonna live with Aaron Gordon threes, we're going to live with Julian Strawther trying to self-create. They are a flawed team. They're a very good team. I'm not hating on them, but in terms of their like playoff construction, they still have a lot of question marks at a high level. Still,
Yeah. I will say this too about the Lakers. I was talking to my boss about this the other day. Like the Lakers are in a position where they're not necessarily even treading water. They've been floating. They've been chilling. They've been chilling above the plane, right?
Yep.
And honestly, when you look at teams that, have put together some shit and tried to make some shit shake in the last couple of years, the Lakers are in that boat. The Warriors are in that boat. The Suns are in that boat. When you look at the Lakers, for the most part of this season, for the majority part of the season, they've been 4th seed, 5 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed. You know what I'm saying? So the idea, the thought of the Lakers kind of coasting, not necessarily coasting, but taking advantage of win now games that you need to win, like a depleted Mavs roster tonight. You have to win this game. Not necessarily too much on Luka having his revenge, but you need to take care of business tonight. And just to keep yourself afloat and ready and potentially having home court advantage in the postseason, something like that. But the thought of them in the postseason, in the playoffs, not the play-in, but in the playoffs, with a healthy LeBron and a healthy Luka, shit, I don't know. Now look, this Lakers team still has flaws. Don't get me wrong, but LeBron and Luka healthy. That's something that we haven't. That's something that basketball heads just dream of. Like you can't fathom the thought of what that would even look like, and you can't necessarily bet against it because you've seen their greatness. Luka is what, second all time in playoff points per game. Like, bro, it's some shit can be magical. But I will say they are flawed in they do need more bigs. They do. The Max Christie trade for me, him being involved in that and being moved off, I liked him as a piece, but they literally pump fake Dalton Connect all the way back to LA. And now
that was funny.
What you have with Dalton Connect, I've said JJ Redick is a candidate for coach of the year, but not only that, he has a guy in Dalton Connect that's your prototype. That's your Master Miyogi or whatever the Karate Kid nigga. You're him, and this is your prospect. This is the guy that you train. This is the guy that they brought in and said, you know what, JJ, you need a shooter that you can give him your routine, give him your pregame routine, your morning rituals, all that. That's your guy. And Dalton, the fact that they can keep a hold of him, and Austin Reeves has been balling this year relatively consistently. That's what's been keeping them afloat. They've been able to maximize all of the pros and block out a few of their flaws. So props to LA, I will say. I just want to say that.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing basketball-wise with this fit, I want people to be clear. The fit of this year to me doesn't matter. Let's be clear about this, right? When you have an option to get a top 5 player who's 25 in his prime, you do it. Damn the roster construction, so that's fine. But in terms of the actual basketball aspect of this current roster, Luka Doncic and LeBron James, I think a lot of people have this misnomer about LeBron acting as if LeBron can't play off ball. I don't know if people have been not watching basketball for like the past 4 years, but he's been adjusting to playing this off ball role for the later portion of his career for a while now. And the best part about it is LeBron is such a different physical specimen that Luka Doncic can actually use LeBron in pick and rolls. And now LeBron can be a short roll option to decimate teams. They're going to be a matchup nightmare for many teams because you have 2 very high IQ players who can create mismatches. And when you send 2-for-1s, they both can make skip passes to the left and right sides of the court very easily because they're high IQ basketball players. But the other thing that I heard no one talking about, which again, I hear the big men, it's not beautiful, right? But the one thing no one is talking about is for a full 48 minutes, it's Luka and LeBron, no matter what. if they're together, if it's one on, one off. We've never seen a player the caliber of Luka Doncic on the court when LeBron is on the bench. Just like we've never seen a player the caliber of LeBron James when Luka is on the bench. And that's what killed Denver in their game. When Jokic had to go sit down, it was bad. You saw Luka creating great offense. You saw LeBron doing the same thing. So that consistency of having a high level, like tier 1 type of playmaker on the court for all 48 minutes is what the Lakers are banking on for this season.
Yeah, I agree with the first point that you made too. Like the fit this season isn't the most important thing. Like this was something that nobody expected. They didn't have time to prepare for. They tried to make a move to get Mark Williams in there to help kind of start the way they have to reshape this roster with Luka on it now. Yeah, I'm going to be really interested in Rob Pelinka. You pulled out when you swindled the Dallas Mavericks willingly because they gave him up. But now you got to get to work and building this team and having the right pieces around Austin Reeves and Luka and LeBron. Now that's a hugely important part. Like however they finish this season, I don't see the Lakers really being in the contention to win a title this year, and that's perfectly fine. They don't have to be. I do think they can make the Western Conference playoffs very, very scary depending on matchups. That's going to be a big thing for them, matchups, but you got to get that bench together. I think you still need to shore up the defense a little bit. I know the Lakers have been, they're like 18th. I think they've hovered around defensively this season, but you still got to get some of that defense together. But next year is where the Lakers are going to be a really, really scary team. So,
yeah, it'll be fun to see how they build up. And again, as you said, the real test is going to be, okay, you got handed Luka. What do you do with it?
Yeah,
exactly. And that's something too. I will say that nobody, because of how insane, and off the wall this trade was, nobody's really talking about that part of it. As much as it baffles us that it happened, Luka still is going to have to produce, right? He's 25. Austin Reeves is 1 year older than Luka Doncic. That does not make sense to me. Luka's got 3 years on him in the league already. Insane. But when you think about the future of the Lakers, like Gifted and Hayes have been alluding to, that's what I'm wondering is how are you going to build around that? What pieces that are there right now are still going to be there in 5-6 years? Like those are the things that I'm wondering. But it'll be interesting to see. I will tell you this: Luka is never going. Now, Luka can't be a Laker for say he gets the extension, he stays there 5, 6 years, 7 years. The expectation, brother, is to win a championship. So, and that expectation not only falls on Luka Doncic because he is an elite player playing in a Laker uniform, it falls on the organization. This organization is notorious for being able to get high value elite players to end up in a Laker uniform, whether it be through trades, through for player through player, trading in the draft up to get Kobe. It doesn't matter. They have figured it out since the 60s, 70s, how to figure out how to get stars in LA, right? Luka is no exception. He falls into that category. I remember when LeBron first got there in 2019, I was like, all right, look, you need to win a championship. It's not just about your legacy. It's about now your legacy as a Los Angeles Laker. That shit means more than your legacy at this point than you in Miami. Like, yeah, you did that. That was great. All right. You built that legacy. You still arguably aren't better than Dwayne Wade over there. But what you did in Cleveland was monumental because there isn't any expectation there, right? What you do in LA, the second highest or second most championships by any team in the league, you got to win a championship. So I will say that's the interesting part about all this. They need to surround Luka with some championship level talent.
But that's enough Lakers, man. We got some real hoops. Let's keep it going.
We definitely got some real hoops to talk about. A game yesterday that I want to talk about a little bit.
OKC game?
Minnesota, yes. Minnesota, OKC. We got to talk about that game.
Got to.
Because, and I just want to go over this. With 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the OKC Thunder were up 106-82. At that point in time, the Minnesota Timberwolves went on a 39-15 run. Let's go over the shooting splits here. They shot 60% from the field, going 12 of 20, whereas the OKC Thunder went 4 of 26 for 15% from the field. They went 50% on their three-pointers. But the thing that was crazy here, 14 of 14 from the free throw line. It was just a crazy run that they went on to get themselves into overtime. Terrence Shannon Jr., a rookie who has not played a whole hell of a lot, just got his jersey retired over in Illinois, absolutely helped this team win. On top of that, this was where Anthony Edwards wasn't even playing a lot of minutes during this run. How'd you guys feel about this game?
I got to say this, man. I watched this game, and it reached a point where I'm like, all right, it's getting late. I'm a very busy man. I work a full 9 to 5. We do content. So I'm like, all right, let me go to sleep. Right when I'm about to click off,
streaming at 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to hear nothing about you got to go to sleep. You know how many times I be sitting there on my edible and be like, Gifted's now live. Oh, let me go check out, bro.
Yes. but that is exactly why on a night where I don't have to be up that late, I could have just went to sleep. But just I'm about to go, my chat is telling me, no, wait a minute. They're coming back. I'm like, how? I click on it. Jaden McDaniels is torching this Oklahoma City defense in single coverage. First off, he deserves a ton of praise. One of my early predictions in the offseason was I thought I would see an offensive leap from him. And I almost gave up because for the entire season, he wasn't it. Yep. But once Julius Randle goes down, you're seeing him play at an improved level. So he was a big part of it. Also, Anthony Edwards, awful. Shit all over himself. He was missing in the key minutes of the game. But when it comes down to it, here's what I noticed, y'all. Down the stretch, Hayes, we saw Shea get double teamed. And what they consistently did is they put 2 or 3 players on the ball repeatedly. Nickeil Alexander in an interview said for the last 24 minutes of actual game time, that was their scheme to consistently do that. So they could give up threes to Duke Dennis, which if you guys don't know who Duke Dennis is, he's a great content creator, but there's a player on the Thunder called Jalen Williams who in the face looked like Duke Dennis. And then there's another player called Lou Dort. Let them shoot threes. Let them beat us. We're going to live with that. Shea, you are not going to beat us because Shea was actually torching them for the majority of that game.
He was.
I understand the bigs were not on the floor, but the biggest thing we have to talk about is J-Dub. The Thunder going to the finals and winning everything and winning a championship hinges on Jalen Williams and or Chet Holmgren being the guys that can up their offensive game when those doubles are coming for Shea, when they're really trying to shrink the floor. And OKC had a gigantic lead and didn't score for the last 7 minutes in the fourth quarter. That is unacceptable for a team that is trying to go all the way. Now, this isn't some grand indictment on OKC. They're still the best team in the entire league, but it shows they can be had if you have the right offensive personnel on the other side.
Mm-hmm. So look, let me tell you my experience yesterday. So I'm chilling at work, right? We got the ordering part of the building in the back. I'm talking to my boy Corday. I'm like, hey, he yo, you putting in something tonight? I'm like, shit, I might. He said, don't the Wolves and the Thunder play again? I said, damn, they play again? Let me go check that. Bruh, y'all, chat. The Timberwolves were plus 500 at 1 p.m. yesterday. Right? Plus 500. Mind you, I'm wondering why the odds that high. I'm thinking to myself, damn, Julius ain't playing. Rudy ain't playing. Okay. Gifted. Oklahoma City. Nah, there is probably 23% of me that wants to say, hey, they didn't have Chet. Bruh, look. Gifted. What'd you say in the last how many minutes? Scoreless?
Almost 7 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Oh, just watching it, Jaden McDaniels' legacy game, but at the same time, when you look at the makeup of the Timberwolves in that game alone, Anthony Edwards, you knew he was going to shoot regardless of the situation. He ends up on limited time, so he's basically for a game that went into overtime. He was basically on a little minutes restriction there, based off of how hurt he was and all that, right? 5 of 15 shooting event. Let me make sure I got that right. 5 of 15 shooting. Mind you, SGA playing like the MVP that he was. I need to say this right now. That man's going to win MVP. The Thunder have cracks in them as a team, but at the same time, do y'all think that they are respected as a contender? Gifted, you said arguably the best team in the league. I still think it's the Celtics, to be real. But do you think that the Thunder are even respected in the Western Conference? It's not just about this win, because I think that they're still a good team, right? Yeah. I think that their defense is some of the craziest shit that I've seen in a while when everybody's healthy and when all things are clicking, right? But at the same time, last year, when we got to the postseason, I had a little bit of faith in them. I will not lie. But the Mavericks end up absolutely exploiting everything I thought I knew about how good they were last year.
Mhm.
So, you know what I'm saying? I end up thinking to myself, seeing games like this, seeing situations like this. I know it's what game 55, whatever. It's not really a big deal, but do
Yeah,
you don't think, you know what I'm saying? Hayes, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I get what you're getting. I don't know how much this is like any type of exposing OKC. Like, I mean, the run that they went on is crazy. Like, if the fact that OKC Thunder went cold as they have now, that was one of the things that hurt them in the playoffs last year was them not being able to hit shots. Everybody likes to blame just Josh Giddey for it, but it wasn't just Josh Giddey. Like,
right?
it was the defense that they were playing on Giddey and the fact that nobody else was hitting open 3-pointers at that point in time. In that series against the Mavericks, the last couple of games there, they were going like 27% on open 3-pointers. That was bad. So the shooting's always been something there for OKC. I just think that we still haven't really seen their ceiling yet. Like Chet, I don't think is still all the way in rhythm yet. I think they got another gear they can go to defensively. I just don't know if we can look at this as being something that necessarily exposes them just because of the like 14 free throws to only 6 is ridiculous there.
Yeah.
Right there, right? Like, but then again, the OKC Thunder are a team. They're third in the league as far as fouls. So they are a team that does foul a lot too. But I'm not looking at this and thinking like this is some huge flaw with OKC just because I don't know if this exact set of circumstances will ever present itself again. But then again, to your guys' point and to ZZ's point as he comes back, it is kind of what got them eliminated from the playoffs as well last year. So I guess we just got to wait and see.
Yeah. My other thing is like people are desperate to look for a reason to not take OKC as serious so they can feed into the like sexier teams with like the bigger names and whatnot.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing with OKC in that is, are we going to ignore just how dominant they've been compared to the entire league for the entire season in a game where Chet Holmgren, Isaiah
He didn't even play.
Right,
Yeah.
right. These guys weren't even like in the game fully. And obviously, we know come playoff time, that's the reason why they got those guys. So ideally, in a playoff series, you have a full 48 minutes, just like I said about the Lakers with LeBron and Luka. They have the same thing where they're going to always have an elite rim protector out there on the floor. And Chet significantly raised the ceiling of whatever this OKC build is tremendously, right? It takes less pressure off of J-Dub to have to be so offensively in tune when you have other weapons. That's the point. So I don't think this is some like grand proclamation about this team. I just think it shows like they're still going to have questions because regardless of having those pieces or not, to not be able to execute the same play over and over, 2 on the ball, 2 on the ball, 2 on the ball, 2 on the ball, and for your bailouts to be Alex Caruso driving layups, it is a problem a little bit.
The thing is too, when you look at and because when I was watching, I was in and out of watching it from up until the Timberwolves started to come back. But with SGA, when he was cooking, I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, dude, when you look at his game overall, it is very difficult to stop. He is, in my opinion, the best scorer in the league. Like even this year, just this year, right?
Mm.
With respect to Kevin Durant, I still think KD's like my greatest scorer of all time. But in respect to this year, what SGA is doing, he attacks from the mid-range. So that means that when he gets past his defender and you have to play help, SGA is smart enough to be able to make out of it. And playmaking, the term itself, it gets kind of lost in translation sometimes. But when you look at, oh shit.
That is I'm taking a screenshot of that one. I'm like, look.
Nah, that's a funny screenshot. That's a funny screenshot.
That's hilarious.
He got C's right at the Nah, that's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah. But and here's the thing: as we wait for ZZ to come back,
yeah.
Is it? And somebody said it in the chat. Do you think it's Western Conference Finals or bust for the OKC Thunder?
I think finals are bust. I think we're beyond that. And okay, maybe like I'm putting too much pressure on them, but I feel like last year you are a Shea foul on PJ Washington at the last second in the game away from going to potential game 7, right? To go to a conference finals. To me, you retool, make the roster better. Chet misses a good chunk of the season, and yet you're still like several leagues above many other teams in terms of net rating and wins for the season. You've been Like, they have been the number one seed in the class of the West for the entire year long. That's a big part of why Shea is in legitimately MVP conversations. You're also seeing one of the best guard seasons we've seen ever in the NBA, period, in Shea. So in my mind, yeah, when you have that many great things to say about you as a team, this has to be the year that you're looked at to be the team to not only go to the finals, but also win the finals. I understand people saying they might trust Boston more than them. Right, fine. But Boston has looked way more touchable in the regular season than OKC has. So I will put the pressure on them. Like, and I'm not saying that they have to like really overreact and make like some blockbuster trade if things don't go their way. But I think they're expecting them to, at the very least, I think their floor is the conference finals. If they don't make it to the conference finals, now we're having a much more drastic conversation about them because they've looked like the only consistent elite team in the Western Conference for the entire season.
Yeah, and I mean, the OKC Thunder right now, they have the second highest net rating in NBA history. Of all the top 5 teams with net rating, all those teams won titles. Every single one of them. The Bulls in 90, 95, 96 had a 13.4 net rating. They won the title. The OKC Thunder now, they're number 2 at 12.8. The Bulls again at a 12 net rating. The Warriors at 11.6 at 2016-17, and then the Celtics in 2023-24. So to say that it's finals or bust, that's fair. So
let me ask this question before I freeze again and then get pissed off.
Okay.
Y'all, when you say that, Hayes, that you know what that implies? That's expectations. So if there's a team out there right now that y'all think could beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in a 7-game series right now, just right now, who y'all think that would be? Do you? Because I don't think that they're as untouchable walking through the Western Conference as Boston is.
The best matchup for OKC. I think a lot of people say Denver because of what Jokic can present in terms of a front court pressure, but I'm going to be honest, that series really hinges on Jamal Murray being viable and how the Nuggets fare against a good front court defense. I just think OKC is a flat out better team than them. I really feel like teams that really have like size advantages versus OKC can make sense, but you have to also put up threes. The Nuggets don't really shoot a ton of threes, and they have a lot of role players that you don't really have to respect as much. So that's why the Nuggets to me aren't that team to topple OKC. I honestly want to see Dallas. Dallas is very interesting to me because yes, there's no Luka Doncic to be like a high level playmaker for sure, right? But if you're just like, assuming that Dallas is fully healthy, the front court that they have with Anthony Davis and a bunch of bigs around him, where AD can now be the 4 with Kyrie as a 3-level scorer, can really bend their defense. I like the idea of it at the very least, but they're not healthy, so I don't know. I just think OKC is better than all these teams, so it's hard for me to like
in the West
choose one. But yeah,
only
in the West. Only in the West.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to count out Denver as long as they got Jokic, they got Jamal Murray. I do worry a little bit about their depth and stuff like that, but I think that they're always a threat. But I'll say this, and I know this is going to be sacrilege to some people. If a fully healthy Memphis teams, I think can give the OKC Thunder fits. Top 10 in offense, top 10 in defense. I'm not saying that I'll pick them to win, but I do think that they can cause some serious problems for the OKC Thunder if it comes down.
Hey,
yeah.
So you got faith? You got that much faith in playoff Ja? That's what you're saying.
If fully healthy, yeah.
I'm not gonna like. If we talk about Ja,
Hayes, look, I seen it. I can't lie to you.
Nah, I want to have a conversation about Ja real quick. Ja's one of the most disappointing players in the season, bro. Like I'm hoping that I'm wrong about Ja Morant. Ja hasn't been a top 11 point guard this season.
In terms of scoring this year,
we can legitimately name guards. I'm with it.
Are you talking about scoring wise? Because here's the thing: what we've seen from Ja this season is Ja is literally taking on more of a facilitator role at times,
and he's turning the ball over more, and he's not being a
Russell
efficient
Westbrook
scorer.
got away with that shit, and he was a top 5.
yeah, because Russell's averaging 30. Ja's not averaging no damn 30.
Okay, that's okay. Fine, fair point. Fine. But okay, so go ahead. Name your 11.
Luka, Shea, Darius Garland's been better this year. Trae Young's been better this year. Cade has also been better this year. Tyrese Halliburton has been better this year. I need to pull off like an actual list. Anthony Edwards as a guard has also been better than him this year. Steph has been better this year. I don't want to count Luka because he's missed a whole.
You already said Luka.
You said Luka.
Person you said.
Okay. Well, my fault. Focus on right now. My fault. We can take him out if it's the entire season, but there's a bevy of guards. I have to actually like see it all the way in front of me. My point is the impact that I've seen from Ja to me has not been felt for Memphis. Ja has also missed a bunch of games. Honestly, Jaren Jackson Jr. has been the best player for Memphis for the entire season so far.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like I rock with Triple J, but that's a problem if Ja cannot get back to the high level we know Ja can reach, right? Like players like Damian Lillard, even Jalen Brunson, like there's so many guards I can name that have outperformed Ja this season. And to me, Ja has to show that he can still have that high impact in the playoffs. They've won in spite of Ja, honestly.
Okay, I can see that point. For real.
Gifted came in hot.
I'm sorry. I don't want to say it, but it's like when I watch that Pacers game and I'm seeing Ja make these unserious reads, bad passes, all of this, and they're relying on Jaren Jackson Jr. to bail them out, it doesn't look good. I feel like people aren't saying it as much because we're holding on to the idea of what Ja has been over these past 2 years. But last year, he wasn't healthy. He missed the first 25 games. This year, he's not healthy again. The health has been hurting him like crazy. But even when he's on the floor, I'm not seeing a consistent high-level read where guys are easily loading up on him. You don't really have to trust his three-point shot as much either, and he's not consistently getting to the free throw line. But independent of that, Memphis still wins games because, and I said this for years, even when Ja was at his height, because they understand how to build a roster. They have a roster of like versatile pieces that help them win in every type of situation. That's why I told Hayes before the season start, no matter what Ja is, I trust Memphis as a roster construction. So,
I mean, the roster is better when that's why I say specifically when they're healthy. They're better when they're healthy. Like that's absolutely. A roster that's really made to maximize and get the most out of everybody when they're together and healthy. And that's why when you take out one of those dominoes, you can have good individual performances, but the team doesn't have the same like impact that you want to see from that Memphis team. So I guess we'll see, man. I got what okay, as we're talking about contenders, like the Rockets have fallen off here recently. They're a young team. Young teams typically do not their first year really being a playoff team. They typically, they'll disappoint or whatever. How far do you think realistically the Rockets can go this season?
I think the Rockets still make the playoffs, but I've been saying this for a long time now. The Rockets have won this many games because of their defense. Their offense has been very, very suspect for the entire season. Even last year, it was as well. And I still feel like in a playoff series, having to rely on Jalen Green or Operation Şengün to consistently get you advantages when sometimes Operation Şengün cannot close out games because of his defense and at times his offensive ineptitude. I just don't know if I want to bank on that for a full playoff series. I think a lot of the teams at the bottom of the West who are rising up, i.e. a Golden State, are fiending for that Rockets matchup because they're a younger team that has a suspect offense. And if I've seen anything in these past couple of playoffs, teams with suspect offenses, even if you have a high-level defense, don't make it that far anymore. You have to have a reliable half-court offense to get anywhere, especially in the Western Conference.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too. My thing with Houston, I like when they hired Ime Udoka, I was a fan of it immediately. I said because when you looked at Houston Rockets basketball prior to him getting there, it was AAU basketball. That was all it is, AAU hoops. With him there's discipline on at least one side of the ball, that side being the defensive side, right? To get this point, offensively, I can't trust in Jalen Green. I can't trust in Alperen Şengün. I can't trust in Dylan Brooks. Like, Torrey Eason, who am I going to trust in? Like, I don't know. When I look at all the other teams and I think about what Houston is missing, obviously they're missing an offensive piece. So what I'm looking at is they need another player. They need another piece, something to either unlock the offense or give the offense a boost. A player like a Kevin Durant would do wonders for them. offensively for himself, at least their offensive numbers would go crazy. You give him a solid enough. You give him a solid enough two guard, even Devin Booker was there. It'd be the same thing, like something offensively. Everything else that surrounds it, as long as the defense is holding its own, you should be fine enough to at least be able to sustain wins over an extended period of time. We saw this when you look back at my favorite example of this is the 2017 Celtics. Isaiah Thomas was their only offensive option, basically. You had a young Jaylen Brown. But what you had around him, the Marcus Smarts, the Al Horfords, right? The Avery Bradleys, what you had, the Jay Crowders, like what you had around him was enough to hide the big ass flaw that was his little ass on defense. Love him to death, but that was what it was, right? So when you look at Houston and you ask questions of what they need, it's an offensive spark plug. Whoever that may be, maybe they have some luck in the offseason. I don't know.
It's going to be Kevin Durant, by the way. Which, by the way, Hayes, I'll let it look in your face. Did I not tell you this at the beginning of the season? The Rockets were going to be a scary team to get Kevin Durant. I told you this way before.
They're not getting Kevin Durant.
Okay, no, that's fine. But what did I tell you specifically at the start of the season? I told you Houston is going to pay Şengün probably. So he has salary to be traded. They're going to have there.
They got the salary. They got the assets. They got the young players. They got everything. Like the Houston Rockets are a team that's almost right there with the OKC Thunder as far as if there's a superstar available, it's going to be hard for a team to beat the offer that they can put forward. It just is.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, listen, this Suns team is one of the worst things I've seen in a minute.
But we're talking about fraudulent.
We talk about it.
Jalen Green is one of the most fraudulent, productive scorers in the NBA. I'm saying it right now. Whoever trades for him, thinking, oh well, we're trading a star, we're getting Jalen Green back. They're gonna find out very, very quickly. All you got is Zach LaVine who can't shoot threes.
But I will say this, Hayes. Okay, here's my question. I agree that he's extremely inconsistent. How long do we keep saying? Because to be fair to him, he's 21 years old, but he hoops every other month.
He's 23 now.
23 now. Getting a little testy now. Getting a little testy with that now.
You're treading muddy waters, nigga. Get it together. Now that's what we ended up. That's what we're going to end up saying. It's like, yo, how long can we keep saying, okay, let's wait for him to develop? Because look, we about to get into it too. And if we're not, I'm about to just throw a segue in there, but we're going to get into it. The Phoenix Suns, right? For example, DeAndre Ayton, bro. I said, at work today, me and Gordon, my boy, we was talking in the back. I was like, yo, you remember the Suns in 2021, right? That team that they had that was constructed, that they got to the NBA Finals with, I said they would love a Chris Paul right now, wouldn't they? But they got a Tyus Jones. So I guess we got Chris Paul at home. Like, no. They need something, and what that something is a time machine. That is exactly what it is. They need a time machine, and then when they get that time machine, they need to go into that time machine and travel back in time and slap the shit out of the front office for trying to even suggesting that we get Bradley Beal. Because let me ask y'all a question: if you're making $50 million for the next 3 years as a basketball player, how much do you think you should be averaging? How much?
Depends on your role, but
minimum. How much minimum? How much minimum? Minimum.
25.
Thank you. No. Between 20 and 25. This nigga's averaging 17 points a game. Bradley Beal is coming off the bench. It's so bad because originally, like all of us said when the trade went down, who running point?
Well, they try to convince us that Bradley Beal could play point guard. I think we all collectively was like, what makes you think that that's something that could legitimately happen?
Exactly. And now, so not to mention the fact that the Suns owner, he said, we have no intentions of trading Kevin Durant. We think Kevin Durant's going to be a Sun for life. We want him to retire here. He wants to be here. All this. He said that shit like 6-7 months ago. And then Kevin Durant wakes up to him being in trade rumors and almost on his way back to Golden State. He thought he was dreaming. Nah, all of a sudden, shit getting shaky. So like Gifted said just a second ago, Kevin Durant to Houston, that ain't going to surprise me if it happens. Kevin Durant anywhere outside of Phoenix next year will not surprise me if it happens, because how long does Kevin Durant,
my third favorite player ever. How long does Kevin Durant at 36 years old, giving me 27, 6 and 5 or 27, 6 and 4, whatever? How long does he have until that 27 becomes 22? And then that 22 becomes 18, or Paul George is what we like to call it now. But like, how long do we have until then? I'm not willing to, I know he ain't willing to wait. Suns fans probably aren't willing to wait. They need to trade his ass. Devin Booker probably should be on the trading block as well, because good Lord, if Kevin Durant ends up going, you're gonna leave Devin Booker. If I'm Devin Booker, you're gonna leave me with the nigga getting paid $50 million and won't waive his no trade clause because he thinks it's 2017. No, I'm not dealing with this. No, I'm up out of here too. That's what Devin Booker gonna say. So
this I'm sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's like this shit makes me laugh so much because Hayes, 2 years ago on this show, when we were talking about this stuff, I literally said, damn, they traded for Bradley Beal. Well, that means Kevin Durant and Booker getting traded in 2 years. Bam! Look where we at now, where it feels 100% confirmed that Kevin Durant is gone. The quotes have not looked great. The basketball has looked worse. The team,
especially when Kevin Durant came out and said the only reason he didn't want to be traded to Golden State is because I didn't want to move in the middle of the season. Not that was crazy. I got confidence in what we can do here. Bro. Not I want to see this thing through. Like,
I just want to move mid-season, bro.
I want to move in the middle of the season,
bro.
That says a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, so, but my thing is, if KD is gone, what's to say Booker don't ask out? So now they might trade both of them. It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, they should. If they trade any one of these guys, unless it's Bradley Beal accepting to waive his trade clause. If you can trade Bradley Beal, okay, maybe you can find some way to salvage some of this. But if you trade Kevin Durant, you might as well trade Booker too and just scorch earth and just clear it out and start all over.
I can almost guarantee you, if both of them are traded, one of them is landing in Houston. And it might be Devin Booker and not Kevin Durant, if that's the case.
See,
I can almost guarantee that.
I like we think alike. Great minds think alike right there.
But I was about to slander Jalen Green, and then y'all started talking about Sun. I don't know how. Well, because we started talking about Sun. Let me slander Jalen Green real quick. Can I slander?
Yeah, sure.
Continue.
I've never seen somebody who was supposed to be a potential go-to scorer that almost 55% of his buckets are assisted. He cannot create his own shot. He still cannot create his own shot.
55?
55% for his career.
Where Mars at? Probably somewhere eating. But look, I'm telling you right now, if you look at Jalen Green, like I said, Hayes, it's almost like holding his hand. Like, come on, be efficient, please. Like, why? Why are we saying that? Now, granted, he is 23. That's fine. That's fine or whatever. But the Houston offense being barely top 15 in the league, and you've been at the top of the Western Conference for a good portion of the season, like Gitta said, largely due to your defense, right? And then because of Hayes' stat that he just listed off, they don't have who's their go-to scorer? Who is it? What can you bank on? What can you realistically bank on? I don't know. It's crazy.
Man, 62% of his shots are jump shots. Out of those 62 that is jump shots, 55% are assisted. He averages 2 unassisted jump shots a game, and that's how he mainly scores. That's a go-to scorer.
He has moments, man. He's a January demon.
He is a January demon.
He's a January demon for sure. What up, Ron?
Ron here. Shout out to Ron.
Well, Ron told.
Let's get into the topic that I'm really excited to talk about, man. Joel Embiid. A lot going on around Joel Embiid, whether they're going to shut him down, whether he's going to need surgery. Well, it seems like he's going to need surgery one way or another. It seems like that's just a thing that's just going to happen. They've been talking about him getting a meniscus replacement, which is one of the surgeries that Lonzo Ball had as far as getting cadaver meniscus put in. That automatically carries a 14 to 16 month recovery time before he's able to go back to basketball. Is it time for the Philadelphia 76ers to start planning life without Joel Embiid?
Is it time for Joel? Is it time for that, or is it time for Joel to start planning life without basketball? Because good Lord, look,
it should be what he wants.
Look, I'm telling you right now, WWE wrestlers probably have gone through less bodily harm in their career than Joel Embiid has, and that is saying something. Like Jeff Hardy, for example. Most of y'all probably know who that is. He's probably had less injuries in his career, and he's known for jumping off of shit.
He had some of that problem because of crack though. That's a little bit different. Like
and look, to each but Joel Embiid, man. Look, is he ever gonna make it to a conference finals, y'all? The man is pushing on. He is about to hit Unk status and has not been to a conference finals, bro. Trae Young has been to a conference finals before Joel Embiid has. Jimmy Butler's been to multiple. That is insane. It's I don't know. I think the Sixers need to blow it up. That's just inevitable. The fact that Paul George has a $212 million whatever extension to not have at least 20 points scored this season is a lot to take in as a Philadelphia fan. It's a lot to take in as a basketball fan. Because look, I know me, Hayes, Gifted Chat, y'all, we was all Paul George fans at one time. At one time.
I'm gonna let you.
Up to 2 years ago, I was still a Paul George fan.
I'm gonna let him keep talking. When it's my turn, you let me know.
All right.
Matter of fact, go ahead, intervene.
Paul George fucking sucks. Let's really talk about this shit, man. We talking about Jalen Green. Paul George has the audacity to wear Kobe's number in Philadelphia, and he makes the most baby shit excuses I've ever seen a franchise player make. The fact that he went out there and said our team doesn't have the heart to compete on a night-to-night basis, as if he does not contribute to that culture, is crazy. We're talking about an older veteran player that signed for a bag that's getting outperformed like players like Tobias Harris legitimately. Stop being a meme. Tobias Harris legitimately at a point is playing better basketball than Paul George. Now, are the injuries the problem? Absolutely they are. 100% they are. That does matter. And that's a big part of why they are what they are. But in terms of the actual basketball product, when Paul George has even been on the floor, it's been bad way before. At the start of the season, he wasn't consistent, right? And Paul George, everywhere he goes, is excuse after excuse after excuse. I'll never forget with Paul George. In the bubble, before basketball was played, when he had a tough game, he said, well, at least I can be more impactful than James Harden because I can impact the game in other ways. I'm like, why are you randomly throwing shade at James Harden, who's clearly better than you by a huge margin? Like, you're not even, like, you can't even tie his shoes right now. And then after that season, he continues to regress further and further and further, has a good playoffs one time, and then after that goes back to not being relevant. Last year in the playoffs, James Harden was carrying Paul George through a lot of that playoff series, right? But then he signs for this big bag, and I'm saying, okay, maybe with a new situation, a bigger role, like he'll be there. But I had people legitimately fighting me tooth and nail to tell me, yo, Paul George is the two option. It's not Maxey. No way it's Maxey. It's got to be Paul George. Tyrese Maxey is shit all over whatever Paul George thought he would be. He's been awful.
Maxey's not only number 2, he's the number 1 of that team going forward.
That's his team now. That's his team now. And look, here's the sad part about it all for me, because the process, I've seen the process since its beginning. So now that we're at this point, and I think to myself, I keep saying this shit should have ended 5 years ago.
It did. Maybe. They just didn't know it.
Exactly.
It did. It ended 5 years ago. They just didn't know it.
The problem.
Yeah. And they're about to start the process too. And I don't know how that's going to run. But as far as the Paul George slander, I have a theory. Listen, go and look at it. This theory holds true. Every NBA player that marries a white woman, their career ends up going the same way. Just listen to what I'm telling you.
Man, I'm not putting shit in the world. That's Paul George. He's that ass.
I'm just saying that all go. And shout out to Bama coming through from Craig and Day Day's office and Friday after next Top Flight Security World office.
Bro, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, appreciate you, man. This is how much I love PC Nation, man. I be at Master's office in Master's kitchen, and I sacrifice my freedoms to come on here and talk shit with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all, man.
I'd rather you free yourself from the shackles of Master for
exactly. Free yourself from the shackles of Master first, brother.
I'll be free on the 28th, brother. Don't even worry.
Okay, that's what I like to hear.
That's what I like to hear. My last day, way downtown, walking fast.
Yeah,
but I agree with you, Hayes. Black Queens forever. Come Come on, man. Dr. Umar told you.
Yeah.
Snow bunnies never, brother. It never works out good for you in the end. But this is what I got to say about that while y'all coming in on Playoff Podcast P. Why do y'all keep putting this notion of him to be this magic? Because he's smooth. I think what it is, he's very smooth. So people equate that with him just being a good player. To me, once a player hit 26, they are who they are. Like it's no elevating, it's no turning over a new leaf, it's no they're going to do this or none of that. Like you said, he had that one good playoff performance and then went right back to the shadow realm like he was always used to doing. So for me, what that tells me, he is who he is. He's going to give you some nights where you can score 50. He's going to give you some nights where you hear the Erykah Badu music in the background. He's going to give you those nights. But when the crunch time rolls around, we know the guarantee is coming. He finna be prostitute P out there. You know this. You know it's coming. Like he's gonna sell. Coming. And him at 34, they give him $50 million, which is crazy to me because I'm like, what has he shown you? Like, don't get like I said, bro. These dudes are good players. But once you attach these contracts to them, now it puts a level of expectation on them. And like I said, once they get to 26. You can't expect a 34-year-old to be somebody he's never showed you he can be. He showed you an instance where, oh, I can be this person, but it's so many nuances that go into him having that game, them games he had. You know what I mean? So I don't know where this notion of P supposed to be the savior or whatever the case may be. I know somebody bought
up. Savior, Bam. Ain't nobody say that. Come on now, Bama. Now listen, you're right to an extent, but I'm just saying I ain't hearing nothing about no savior and no Paul George in Philadelphia in the same sentence.
But Zizi, to me, when you offer somebody that type of money, like you're hoping they come in and make the situation a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm not saying okay, he just gonna backpack it, but they was expecting him to come in and be some sort of
that point, right. To that point, there's a difference between good money and dumb money. Now, Bradley Beal, that's why I can never really fault Bradley for the money that he made based off of what he did in Washington. But because at the time when he got that big bag from Washington, he was like the highest paid player in league history at that point, or at some point.
And it was a problem then. Too. Is that should never. Like the only reason why he got that is because his agent like sacrifices goats all the time. That's the only reason why. Because not only was he the most paid, he became the most paid player in the league at the time with the no trade clause. The only other person in the sport with a no trade clause is LeBron James. At the time, that was a dumb contract, and they knew it, but they signed it anyway.
Let me ask y'all this though. The reason why I kind of give Bradley Beal some grace because I don't think the GM coaches, I don't think a lot of people, even Bradley Beal, I don't think they fully thought about it. But the reason why I say this, why I give him some grace, what does Bradley Beal do different that Book and KD isn't? They all the same player. Like that's pretty much what I'm getting at. They pretty much played the same type of way. One is just 6'3", 6'6", 7 foot. So they pretty much play the same exact way. But what happens is someone has to be the odd man out. And let's just be honest, guys. You got Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. Who is going to be the odd man out? I mean, Stevie Wonder can tell you this, like, get out of here. Like, so I think a lot of his thing was trying to refigure out the role they need him in. But like I said, dude, like once they reach 25, 26, they the player, their play style is their play style. So now you're trying to teach an old dog a new trick of camping the corner. And you see what athletes do when they go over there and play LeBron and have to camp corners. They become a shell of what they used to be. And I think Bradley Beal is a victim of being on a team where it's two guys that are arguably better basketball players than you, and they just really do the same thing you do. You know what I mean? It's like
it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense then. And even on this show, we all were like, yo, what is the point here? The equivalent of that trade would be Russ to LA. It didn't make any sense. Why didn't it make any sense? The fit itself didn't make sense. Even if it was prime Russell Westbrook coming to the Lakers, it would have been cool. They probably would have got some wins, But I don't know if that would have amounted to playoff success when the shit really got down to the nitty gritty, making Russell Westbrook a jump shooting player. I don't know, right? And when he got there, the problem that we had was you have one ball and you have two guys that always play with the basketball in their hand. So who's going to play off of it? LeBron ends up being their best three-point shooter for the first half of that season. We all knew they weren't going to win the championship. You see what I'm saying? Like, so you look at that and then you look at Paul George. The part of me that it was dumb for Bama, and you're right, they did give him all that damn money. For me, I was like, you're leaving an injury-prone player, join another injury-prone player. Difference between these players is, mind you, player A, Kawhi, has already won twice. He has his accomplishments, right? He peaked early, right? Joel Embiid is on pace to be 35 and still never make it to a conference finals because and the thing is, the difference between the two of them is they're both hurt, but Joel Embiid plays through his injuries. There's good and bad to that. The good in that is, yeah, he's an iron warrior. The bad in that is he's inefficient as hell, not the same player from the regular season. And the worst part about it is what I was trying to allude to earlier. Joel Embiid has had, I kid you not, I have on my life, I've never seen a basketball player with more injuries in different parts of their entire body than Joel Embiid, especially at the most inopportune times, albeit the playoffs is what I'm talking about specifically. But like, it's the worst times, and it's the injuries that you couldn't even fucking predict. Like with Derrick Rose, for example, in 2014, if Rose tears his meniscus, you're not surprised. But Joel Embiid will tear his PCL, and you think that he's talking like I'm like the debate league. No, it's just a random injury. His eye socket, his orbital bone, whatever. It's like, damn. So you can't even load manage Joel Embiid because you don't know what you're going to get. So Paul George going there, I was just like, dude, you're just going to go get your bag. You're not serious about winning. You're just going to go get your bag. Cool. This is your last big bag. So go get it, right? And then drift off into the sunset. But they're not winning shit over here. Like they're not winning anything. So
yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate where they find themselves at, but that's just what it is. And the 76ers at this point are going to have to try to make a decision on what to do with their future. And it may make itself like if they, which they're clearly taking. I don't know if you watched that game last night against the Bulls. They were playing people that Gifted may have as many NBA minutes as some of those people that they were playing yesterday. But they have a top 6 protected pick. As long as it falls in the top 6, it doesn't go to the Spurs, I believe. So they just got to keep working. And if they do get a top 6 pick in this draft specifically, then you have Jared McCain, you have Tyrese Maxey, you have the pick that you just had, and you have a nice young core you can start trying to figure out what you do going forward. I don't know if they're going to be able to move Joel Embiid. I don't think so at this point, especially with the talk around a meniscus replacement. I don't think any team touches him until he's back on the court, if that's the case, or until it at least is announced that he's not going to have that surgery. So the 76ers just got to try to find their path. And if they can move him, move him. If not, you got to start building a team that can be okay without Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're in a position where, as we've said, Joel Embiid's a great player, but the injuries are really hurting his value to the team. He's missed almost as many games as he's played for the franchise, and moving forward, it might not age that better. I mean, there is a surgery he can get, but the details of that surgery sound like something so unique and so drastic. We don't know how that'll pan out. If you're the Sixers, you definitely have to look at potentially rebuilding without Joel Embiid moving forward, mainly because of his inability to stay healthy as a franchise player. Your franchise player got to be healthy to actually show the value. And as good of a player as he is, he just hasn't been able to do that. So I think this is going to be a bow out year for the Sixers. I think next year they might give it one more chance. And if it doesn't work out, then I think he's gone.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. It's good that Tyrese Maxey has stepped up and shown himself to be the leader that he has this season, because it's given them a lot. Yeah. He's been clearly the leader of that team, even when it comes down to calling out Joel Embiid at times. So, we'll see how that continues for them. At least
He
they
makes
have that.
for sure.
So, it is what it is. Greg Popovich, man, not returning in the 2024-25 season after his recovery from stroke. There's still some doubt on what his career, his coaching future is going to be at all. This is unfortunate, not only because of the stroke aspect of it, of course, which goes without saying, but even outside of that, like Greg Popovich is a coach that he earned a farewell tour, in my opinion.
Mhm.
How do you guys feel about the possibility that Greg Popovich's coaching career is done?
It sucks, man. It really does suck because, like, for me, some of my favorite, like, and fondest NBA finals of my life were that Miami and San Antonio Spurs series, right? Even dating back to 2007 when the Spurs were in the finals against the Cavs. Like, I remember watching that series. Like, just the Greg Popovich and what he means to the game of basketball, it just goes without saying. So it sucks because for me, my hope, like everybody kind of has a hope of like when, or at least had a hope of when Wemby was drafted or even being talked about being drafted and the Spurs having the number one pick and all that. The idea of Pop having some sort of resurgence in San Antonio with, of course, this generation's version of a Tim Duncan, right? So it's like, and you land that, and to see the turn of events that happened afterwards, it's just tragic. It really is. The Spurs are in a situation as a whole right now where it really does suck because I didn't have, if y'all go back to some of the episodes before the season started, I didn't have San Antonio like higher than a 9 seed, but the acquisition of Chris Paul I knew was going to do great things for them, and it had them winning, already had them on pace to being better than they were last year early on in the season. So then they get De'Aaron Fox, and then Wemby obviously has his health scare, and then now De'Aaron Fox is potentially getting surgery. They just need to shut everything down and then reevaluate. If they end up getting Cooper flagged by some miracle chance, Lord have mercy. But I mean, I think they just need to shut everything down right now and try to get back to next year. The chances of Greg making it back to coach a full season seem to be slim. I don't know. I wish him the best, obviously. Nothing but prayers and love. But I would really hope, like you said, Hayes, that he would get, if he does get a chance to run it back next season, I think it would be his last. Genuinely. Like win, lose, or draw. All right, so rest up, Pop.
Yeah, man. Hope he's all right.
Damn.
I think, bro, this is the end of an era, man. Unfortunately, man, a lot of the guys around my age, Hayes, all y'all, bro, like this is just us getting older, and we seeing the. I mean, of course, it came by way of a stroke, but let's just be honest. Pop been coaching a minute, especially for the Celtics. When you think about Spurs. When you think about the Spurs, you think about Pop, Tony, Tim Duncan, but you think about the head coach. I just think this is just the end of an era, bro. All the good coaches retiring, they're getting older, man. Like I know he has some health issues, but I mean, it's just time. Coach K moved on, Nick Saban moving on, Bill Belichick moved. There's so many great coaches you can just point to. I just think it's the end of a certain era. It's time to get somebody in there younger, or that can adapt to the new NBA, basketball, or whatever the case may be. Doesn't change the greatness of Pop. Hope he has a speedy recovery. But a lot of times for me, when I think of these things, I just think, man, it's just time for these dudes to move on. Like it's just the end of an era. Like, unfortunately, we will want to see some of these coaches win a championship and then say, oh, I'm retiring. But that's just not the reality sometimes. Sometimes people do have injuries or sicknesses that take them away, but it doesn't take away from what I said, man. I just feel like it's just the end of an era, man.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to Pop, like I think most people thought he was going to retire before he signed the contract extension. It's almost like them drafting Wemby reinvigorated him some, and he wanted to stay around and kind of guide that development. So I mean, I hope that they already have a succession plan in place. They had already been thinking about that. And we'll see what they do going forward. Like I'm sure Pop at some point, whenever he fully recovers, he'll be involved in basketball in some way, whether it's in the front office as an advisor or something. He's going to be involved. I just can't see Pop completely stepping away from basketball, but then you never know. This stroke may change that a little bit. So
yeah.
All right. Moving on from that one. Right before we came down to record, Diana Taurasi announced her retirement from the WNBA. I know not everybody's been watching WNBA as long as I have, but she is a legend in basketball overall in college and what she's done in the W as well. How you guys feeling?
Old, very old. Happy that she is I guess resting on her own terms. I didn't expect it. It came out of nowhere, but if she feels comfortable doing that, that's good. She had a very long longevity in the W. Not a lot of people can say that they've been playing for that long, and she did a lot to push the sport forward. So I think she should be celebrated for that.
Can't hear you, Z.
You muted, Z. You still muted. Oh, he's saying Bama.
Oh shit. Hold on 1 second.
You good, bro? You good? Yeah, it's just celebration of Diana Taurasi, man. That's all I'll say, and I'll leave it. I just think with what she's been able to do over her career, she deserves to be acknowledged, and that is what it is, man. Z, you back? You good? Okay, no worries. We'll let Z talk about Diana Taurasi. Last topic before we get out of here, though. Gifted, your Warriors, Jimmy Butler, resurgence.
It's been great, man. In the words of Drewski, Jimmy Butler changed these whole niggas' lives, man. We have been a different team with Jimmy Butler. He's been outstanding for us. The amount of effort that he's done to just reinvigorate our offense has been phenomenal. He's been a dirty work guy. He fits into the system so well on both ends. But the biggest thing, Hayes, we finally have a grifter. That's right. We finally have a guy that can go band for band with Shea, can go band for band with Luka in terms of getting calls that they probably should not have got. We never have that. Normally, we have to like rely on just shot making from a whole bunch of players. But Jimmy being able to focus on making 2-point field goals and understanding how to play, make, and pass out of that, having another dynamic option in the short roll when Steph gets doubled, so we actually have a response out of that, is the reason why the Warriors have won so many games. But it's still early. I still think they have to show exactly how consistent they can be. But based on their schedule and them playing their hardest games at the top of the season, they have a very good chance to rise up the continuous Western Conference. Right now, they went from bottom of the league in free throw percentage to top 10, and they're number 2 in attempts right now, I believe. So it's just an amazing thing I'm seeing from the Warriors, man. Happy to see it.
The thing that I'm back, by the way. The thing that actually gets me the most about this team is that everything that Gifted said about how Jimmy has come to the team and changed the outlook of the offense, the opportunities in the offense. Like he mentioned, Steph coming off of a double screen, the Warriors ended up becoming predictable because with Klay Thompson regressing and then ended up not being there, and then you have Buddy Hield there, and it's like, all right, if he hits his first 2, he'll miss his next 3, and it's like you're not really worried about that. Jimmy Butler, on the other hand, he's coming into the team, getting to the cup, getting to the free throw line, playing insane defense to the point where you have like him and Draymond Green out there at the same time picking apart shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, can y'all still hear me?
Yeah.
I thought I froze out. But them picking apart shit on defense, you can see it, right? When the Warriors lost DeAnthony Melton when he went down, that was where their season took the biggest hit and just snowplowed from there. When you look at what Jimmy Butler has done for this team in a short amount of time, short window, just 6 games, they look like they are refreshed offensively and defensively. He's getting to Brandon Podziemski and telling him, hey, look, these angles, all them charges you took last year, great. I'm here now. So let me show you let me keep you in position to get those charges. Let me keep you in position to get these strips, right? And keep shooting threes. All that. Jimmy doesn't even need to shoot threes. He hasn't shot that many threes since he's been on the team. He's just been going straight to the rim and getting to the cup every time, getting to the line. So the resurgence of the Warriors offense, and it just seems like they're like they woke up in a way. I can't even explain it. It's been great to see. I will say this too. Something that nobody's talking about. Jonathan Kuminga been out for a little while.
Hasn't played yet. Yeah.
Where does he fit in all this, right? On before he got hurt, it was a decent stretch of games he was putting together, but it was a little inconsistent if I remember correctly, but still solid enough, right? He was working on his 3-point shot. Me and you, the last time we were on from the logo, because we were talking about his jump shot improve, his 3-point shot improving at least. So
Yeah.
he just fit in all this. To be honest, I want him to fit in more defensively than he has offensively. As much as he has had a polished mid-range game, his mid-range game has gotten a lot polished in the last couple of years. But I want to see him attack defensively. He's athletic as hell offensively to get them alley-oops and all that flair and finesse is great. But defensively, I feel like there's a lot more that we are missing from him. What do you think?
For me personally, Jonathan Kuminga is going to be a very important piece for the Warriors because before he went down, he was playing his best brand of basketball. He was actually one of the only players on the team to get to the free throw line in general. So I think adding that with Jimmy Butler is going to skyrocket where our actual attempts are as a team from a game-to-game basis from the free throw line. I also think just athletically having another guy like Jimmy who can do things inside the arc with our space is going to do a lot of dividends to our different lineups that feature Steph or non-Steph minutes. I'm really curious about how Kuminga can fit in with Jimmy Butler, and that's where I would agree with you, where defensively is where we really want to see the most growth. Because if he can become like a solid POA wing with that, I think that can fit really, really well, right? I also think that him just being a athletic valve for the passing of what Butler likes to do can have a lot of value, man. So
yeah.
And I don't think Kuminga has to start because people have to remember before the trade went down, Kuminga was coming off of the bench playing starters minutes, producing at that level. To me, he can just fill in that same exact role, and then now it gives us an even more viable bench now.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
We'll see, man. I think Jimmy Butler getting to the free throw line 9 times a game, over 9 times a game.
Yes,
it's crazy. Like that it's crazy. And he's hitting it at the highest rate, highest percentage of his career too, at 89%. Like that changes things. Now, I'll say this: Jimmy Butler shooting 10% from 3 is a little concerning, but he doesn't have to take a lot of threes in this team. Yeah,
I'm not tripping.
Hey, look, his over/under is like 0.5 on threes. That's exactly where it could be. And it don't even make me like move or budge at all.
I don't care about the threes at all, Hayes. And the reason why is when I'm seeing the way teams guard Steph for the entire season, we have not been able to execute consistent advantages, and we've lost many games because of that. Now, when they double team Steph, Jimmy gets the ball in the middle of the zone because how you bust the zone is either out shooting it or having a guy that's in the middle. So when he's in the middle, now teams are afraid because he can either shoot the mid-range shot or do another advanced pass. Having someone to take advantage of that makes our offense better, even if he isn't shooting threes.
And honestly, I would much rather live with Jimmy attacking inside the arc than him. Because look, playoff Jimmy is a different breed, right? When playoff Jimmy gets going, if usually when he's hitting threes, he's already done his damage from the post, mid-range, elbow, and alley-oops and shit. Like he's already done his damage there. That's just him on fire, right? So you know the old saying, gifted, Bama Hayes, y'all might have heard it before, but it's I don't know if it's synonymous with Draymond, but you can put him in there where it's like everything all fun and games till Draymond start hitting threes, right? Like with Jimmy Butler, that is legitimately the case for a lot of those Heat runs, not just Tyler Hero, not just Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, whoever was hitting at that time for them beyond the arc. Jimmy was adding in on that too and making it pretty much overkill. So when you look at what he's at, where he's at with the Warriors, and like Gifted said, breaking down a 2-3 zone, breaking down whatever defensive coverages they might throw at Steph specifically, the X factor and all that, and what unlocks the rest of the offense. Because what made the Warriors predictable a lot of the times, Gifted, is if you remember, a lot of times last season and the season before that, I think you would run a simple pick and roll with the Warriors, Draymond and Steph, or Steph and Draymond, right? The defense comes over, they hedge, and you see the double coming. Draymond and Steph will throw a bounce pass to Dre, who's at the free throw line at this point. The Warriors were predictable in that once Draymond got the ball, you're still keeping your eye on Steph, but there's a backdoor cut coming from Wiggins. There's a backdoor cut coming from GP, right? Draymond's looking for that. The only time that the Warriors were fluid in that was when everybody was hitting, and that was a rarity. That was a rarity, right? Now you have Jimmy Butler to where it is, if you're a defender, you have no choice but to respect Jimmy Butler's presence alone in the restricted area at the free throw line. Maybe not at the 3-point line as much, but if he gets a pump fake and slashes, then you need to respect his drive at the very least. So it just unlocks a lot for the Warriors. And if you watch them, y'all check in on some Warriors games if y'all can, and just kind of see a difference in not only their game offensively,
Much
but
better
Jimmy's
process.
approach. Right.
Yeah.
All that.
Mhm.
All that.
Absolutely on that for sure.
So we shall see. How far do you think your Warriors can go?
I think this Warriors team has potential to actually be a pretty good playoff team. I really do.
Mhm.
I think that the addition of Jimmy Butler makes them more versatile to attacking different approaches. The biggest thing, and I hate like the narrative thing, but it is factually true. Jimmy Butler as a playoff player is a lot more aggressive than what he is right now.
Exactly.
He's only had a couple games with this team, and he's already had no game so far, at least under 18 points. Period. His baseline has been that because he's been living
Right.
at the line routinely. So imagine when he's actually saying, okay, I want to put my head down and go for 30 points. I want to be aggressive looking to score. When you enhance those tendencies paired with Draymond Green's resurgence defensively, with what Jimmy can also provide on that end, their process on both ends is a lot better. Now, my issue with this team is the front court is very, very questionable. There's times where I feel like Looney shouldn't play, but he has to play. The big that's made a huge difference for him so far,
Quentin
Quentin
Post,
Post,
baby.
but his
Quentin
defense
Post, yes,
is
sir.
ass, but the
Damn
shooting
straight.
is so key. So it's but I do believe that they're going to be a very dangerous team because of their stars and because of how they understand how to play. Like all of them are playoff battle tested, all
Right.
three of them, right?
Right.
And I think that really will carry this roster to a farther out point. I think their ceiling is really dependent on how good some of their younger players in terms of like Kuminga, Moses Moody, especially B-Pods, who, by the way, off injury, B-Pods is playing the best basketball of his career.
Yes, he is.
You know what I'm
And let me
saying?
tell you
But,
something, get this. I'm here for it because the slander was loud as hell.
And
in
rightfully
Fat
so.
Nation. Rightfully
Yeah.
so. But here's my thing, right? I always said I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because the kid was a rookie last year. So when I look at it, or the year before last, whatever it was, when I look at it, I say the kid is young as hell. I'm giving him more leeway than I will give Jalen Green by a mile. Now, here's the thing. Defensively, he's a scrappy defender. I never looked at him as solid as a defender as I look at Gary Payton, right? The second. But at the same time, offensively, where he helps the team is 3-point shooting, especially when they tell him shoot the damn ball.
Mhm.
He helps stop transition when the charges that he draws. He helps play in the passing lanes with the steals that he can generate. Jimmy Butler, you can see in 6 games, has unlocked another level of his defensive motor that I didn't think was really capable because he's not built to be that good of a defender. He doesn't have the wingspan of a Gary Payton or the build of a Jimmy Butler or even the wingspan and build of an Andrew Wiggins. He doesn't have that. He's just scrappy. Same thing with like Steph Curry back in the day. They used to say he can't play D. Yeah, he's a scrappy defender. He ain't gonna just let you go by him, right? Like he ain't Luka last year in the final. But hey, it is what it is. Let me segue right there. I need each and every single one of y'all, Bama, Gifted, and Hayes, and Chad, predictions for Luka's points tonight before we get out of here. Starting with whoever.
I got Luka going for 27 tonight.
27. So 27 plus.
Plus, yeah, minimum.
All right.
Minimum 27.
For sure.
I don't know. That's a weird number, but I just don't think he'll go under that. He been averaging 14 points, dude. That's fucking wild.
He had his breakout game against the Nuggets. What was that, 32? I think. So, I mean, I want to say he's back, right? Like, definitely more than, I feel like definitely more than 25. I feel like that's just a lock. Like, he can't score no less. He's got to get this shit back in blood. And Nico Harrison better be there.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I just want to see the process be right for Luka. I think he's gonna probably have like a double with rebounds. I think Dallas is a much smaller team without a lot of their front court players, so I'm expecting at least 10 boards out of Luka for sure. Honestly, I think the funny part about this game, everyone is so focused on Luka. I think LeBron is really going to be the guy that goes crazy in this matchup because of the size mismatch he's going to have and the amount of attention Luka is going to make for LeBron. I think LeBron's going to have a very easy going in this type of game, honestly.
Word. Hayes, what you feeling?
This is where
Go ahead, Bama. Go ahead.
This is where they lose me, Hayes. This pisses me off so much. 40 years old. Y'all expect him to have a good. This is why the Lakers will never go nowhere, bro. You got Luka, you drug Luka, you pulled off a heist.
You did kidnap that.
Y'all want to use him so LeBron can have. Man, if y'all don't sit that old head down somewhere.
Two things can be true at the same time, Bama. Like LeBron's still averaging 24 points per game, my boy. Just because they got Luka doesn't mean LeBron gonna ride off into the sunset, my boy.
You know how your mama say you ain't gonna get up from this table until you finish your last bite of that broccoli? That's literally what LeBron averaging 24 this whole season was. Him forcing that broccoli down your throat. No Diddy. No, but I'm seriously, bro. Like, I'm a real Lakers fan. I'm like a real Lakers, like diehard Lakers. Like, this is why I say I couldn't be a GM because I thought Lonzo was our next Magic Showtime. You know what I mean? I still got his jersey at the crib. Lonzo hurt my heart. Real Lakers fan. I just don't like the circus that's been with LeBron. Literally, you get Luka, LeBron should have. It should be no question he should be playing off ball. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar role. But nope. Luka, you go sit in the corner. And this is wild. Like, I'm just like, no way. At 40, like, you still have this mindset. I get it. He great. Not saying he not great. But, bro, it comes a time where this
I think I know what you mean, Bama, where it's like you're great. You're GOAT James, blah, blah. But he should be running this team. To your point, though, I think, and this is to LeBron's credit, I think when LeBron back in 2019, when he first landed in LA, his goal with getting Anthony Davis to come to LA as well was to run it through AD. Like, AD had a legitimate case to be Finals MVP in the bubble, but I feel like that was all a part of the plan. Like, LeBron's looking at it like, this is my twilight years. I'm drifting into the sunset. I got my sons to think about and shit.
Yeah.
AD, take over. Like, that was what it was always supposed to be. But AD became, a little injury prone here and there, whatever, and it just didn't work out. Right now, you're in a situation where you have Luka, who is literally like a multi-universe version of LeBron, same basketball makeup of a player, prototype, right? Like, you have that 15 years younger. So, to Bama's point, that's who needs to be running the show. LeBron should take on a Kareem role. And LeBron's Kareem role is going to be completely different because if LeBron at any moment in time can say, hey, yo, young blood, let me see that. Duck his head, go straight to the rim. LeBron could do that at any time. His LeBron, I love him to death, his one default move. If that jumper ain't falling as consistently as he wanted, I'm going to duck my head and I'm going to go to the rim. And ain't nobody going to stop him. So that's something that can be like reliable. Same thing with Kareem Skyhook, right? Like that was what it was. LeBron, duck your head, Kareem Skyhook, reliable. Let me defer to you in moments in which makes sense. They can do that.
Because I want to be objective. I ain't saying because with AD, I see why LeBron had to do what he do. Because AD is start out with 19 points and he'll finish with 19 points. 19 points in the first quarter. Finish with 19 points. And the crazy part is he plays all 4 quarters. That's why I understand why LeBron feels the need to have to be the person. But from what I see with Luka, unless I'm wrong, like I said, I am a casual basketball watcher. But from what I see with Luka, he see red when he got the ball. He literally see red, no matter who you is. African, American, mixed, it don't matter. Luka's gonna bust you. So
I do just want to say this though.
Why not get out his way though? Why not get out his way? You bring him over here, get out his way, and see at least see.
Bama, do you get high and play 2K and think you watching actual NBA basketball?
I don't think he's. Yeah, listen, Bama, like that all sounds great. LeBron's been playing off ball. We've been seeing that for multiple phases of his career so far. The reason why he's able to still put up 24, 25 points is a lot of his points are just a lot easier. Luka is still getting used to the team, his
4
conditioning,
games.
all that, and now he's starting to be more on ball. But that's only going to help LeBron more because again, they're going to use them directly in actions together. And then with Luka on, like my biggest thing is independent of how they
I'll be
actually
watching
play
Lakers
together.
tonight. We'll see how much LeBron play.
Hey, look, I'm telling you right now. Also, to get this point, Austin Reeves, this nigga's playmaking this year has been the best of his entire career.
He's a big part of why LeBron's been able to play off ball.
Yeah,
because he has 2 players off the dribble who have juice to them. That matters. You know?
Yeah. That shit scared the fuck out of me. I was like, bro, am I getting audited? Like, what is happening? Sorry, the comment said at Z, it's all caps, bro. It's all caps. I'm like, damn,
What is
He
happening?
wanted to make sure he got your attention, brother.
Yeah, at ZZ.
You ready for the PCL, brother?
You getting audited in the YouTube
Are
chat?
you ready, brother? To lose
That's Hulk
again?
Hogan's burner account.
Oh man, all I know is I better get Jordan in the first round so I can cook up because he's that's
I'm
meat
pulling
on the line there.
I'm pulling no
Y'all
punches.
gonna be
this
mad
year.
when I steal the whole competition. I'm winning the whole competition
Bama,
straight
you
cash.
just lost the conversation with yourself about LeBron playing off ball, bro. I don't think you
Y'all
gotta
just
worry
love
about
LeBron
PCL
too
no
much,
more.
bro.
I mean, like it's that haze, but it's also like a couple episodes ago, you was literally like, I actually think Dirk has a better approach to the game than Shaq, but you're a true Lakers fan. Like I don't.
Yeah, Shaq
That
was
shit don't make no
lazy as
sense to me.
fuck. Shaq was lazy as hell. Big lazy nigga, bro. We would have won so much more rings if he had Kobe's dedication.
But you literally said because Dirk has a better approach to the game, Dirk is better.
Listen, we're not even finna rehash all that because it is what it is.
That's right.
Bama gonna stand
that's
10
right.
toes down on his opinion.
Right, so Dirk better than Shaq, chat.
And unfortunately, sometimes Bama stand 10 toes down in dog shit.
Hey,
It's
chat.
dog shit. It's shit.
Chat, these boys don't know that catnip, that smoking that catnip, baby.
We know you be smoking. Yeah.
I bet you
stand
do be
on
smoking
that,
that catnip.
man.
Yo, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of From the Logo, man. All love to the whole panel, man. Shout out to Bama, Gifted, ZZ, man. We appreciate y'all, man. We are here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you guys stay in tune with us there. Any last thoughts, fellas, before we get up out of here?
Enjoy basketball, man.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you.
Game on
Tonight we're gonna witness an attempted murder. And if I match up with Mike in the PCL, you'll witness an actual one. So y'all be good, be safe. Tuck your kids in at night.
Also, y'all tell Ron to get off the sideline and get into the debates. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all need to put some pressure on Ron.
like that.
Nah, for real. Ron needs to stop because Ron be getting away with saying shit on the panel.
And he ain't got a debate. Yeah.
And he ain't got to stand on it. Like it's like he can only stand on it for like that last hour and a half or whatever. He be filling it in. Nah.
All right, we appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. We out, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.